Aino-Maija is ready now. You can start.
Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Aino-Maija Luukkonen and I'm the mayor of Pori. And on the background you can see our famous beach, Yyteri. So it's a pleasure to be here with you, and I would like to warmly welcome you all to the importance of Industry 4.0 for Derry and Pori Business Systems webinar. This is the first webinar between the cities of Londonderry and Pori, which both belong to the Intelligent Cities Challenge program, as was mentioned before. The Intelligent Cities Challenge ICC is a European Commission initiative that supports 136 cities in using cutting-edge technologies to lead the intelligent, green and socially responsible recovery. The ICC cities and their local ecosystems will be engines for the recovery of the local economy by creating new workplaces and strengthening cities' participation and well-being. The Pact for Skills is of particular interest to the Intelligent Cities Challenge, which includes an upskilling and reskilling track. Pact for Skills is the European Commission's new shared approach to skills development. It demonstrates a serious effort to bring together key players from different backgrounds and sectors to make a united commitment, offering them concrete action points for implementation as for the Industry 4.0 needed skills. The overall goal of the Pact is to maximize the impact and effectiveness of skills investment, and of course, City of Pori is happy to be involved. A couple of words about our city, Pori, which was founded in 1558. I would like to start saying that Pori is an international city of business, technology, and of course Industry 4.0. City of Pori is located in the west coast of Finland. It's the 10th largest city in Finland and the 7th largest urban area in our country. Pori is also the capital of the Satakunta region with a population of 222,000. The local industry has recognized the importance of digitalization and investing in the digital skills and competencies. The local educational institutes provide experts to the growing industrial and technology clusters. The city of Pori is also one of the leading cities in Finland in digital transformation of education, which benefits the local economy and industry. The needs of skills within industry and technology companies are asked and discussed together with secondary education level and university degree organizations and the business development service providers. For example, Pori is implementing a new learning path in order to improve their sustainable metal processing skills. The leading international companies have found new solutions for attracting academic level talents. For example, new learning path in chemical, biochemical and materials engineering has been established in collaboration between the local University of Applied Sciences, SAMK, and Helsinki-based Aalto University with a strong support from the city and industrial sector. We are confident that we can support the transformation of education and support the growing companies in their need for skills and talents. We are heading for our vision together, Satakunta Skills and Data Management Ecosystem, which is creating value for the growing companies and region and also supporting strong cross-sectoral cooperation. The advanced digital skills are at the center of this ecosystem, an ecosystem focusing on all levels of education. Then a couple of words about the pilots in Pact for Skills. The first pilot of the Pori Pact for Skills program is the so-called Robo-Satakunta pilot project. Robo-Satakunta aims for upskilling of the workforce in industrial companies with a focus on digital skills needed in the metal industry. These skills include automation and collaboration robotics, for example. Vinnova, as a vocational educational provider and a pilot project lead, Satakunta University of Applied Sciences and our regional business development company Bridgetech as project partners cooperate in order to support the digitalization on the metal industry. This pilot project is also a tool for building a strong skills partnership. Thus, the Robo-Satakunta pilot supports companies' needs for skills and offers companies, especially SMEs, new opportunities to implement new technologies. A second pilot project in the Pori Skills Pact program is called Kummi Family, and it's a solution for attracting and integrating the needed international university level talents to the region. The Finnish word kummi means godfather. The Kummi Family pilot is offering international students a chance to learn about Finnish culture and lifestyle outside the educational institutes and to add positive value to their study experience. This program aims at a positive cultural experience for all stakeholders, the international students, their host families and the companies. This will promote cultural exchange and enable friendship between local families, local companies and international students. It also promotes the internationalization of the city and the whole Satakunta region. The Kummi Family program helps us all to work against discrimination and offer equal opportunities for all students while solving the need for tech talents in the region in the long run. SAMK is the leader of the pilot project as the majority of international talents are attracted to the region by SAMK international study programs. So, as a conclusion, we can say that the ICC and the Skills Pact have already offered to our city several tools, partners all over Europe, and also motivation and inspiration needed for digital transformation. We believe that events like this are an important part of this tool set, and we hope to give this motivation also to other cities in Europe. We are certain our friends in Londonderry, also a city with an industrial history heading for digital future, are giving us good examples today. Today we can all learn and find inspiration as we are heading towards digital transformation together. Together with our international growing companies and with our universities and educational institutions, with international networks, we are also building our international connections and cross-border cooperation. The city of Pori is active in building the international networks of the cities. Thus, we are inviting all of you for discussion today and after the seminar as well. Please enjoy the seminar. Thank you.
Thank you very much about Aino-Maija. That's inspiring speech. And next one, we can talk about it a little bit. I can talk a little bit about program. Yes, now you can see here. And next one, Romeo, Saverio, you can speak about it, few minutes about it, and then I can continue about it, the speech.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay. Before I did not introduce myself. So
Yes.
my name is Saverio Romeo. I'm a lead expert. I'm the lead expert for the city of Derry, Londonderry. Each city in the ICC project has a lead expert appointed by the Commission. What I want to say, I mean, maybe, Pirita, if you allow me, I can spend a couple of words on Derry and then we can go to the first speaker. I mean, we are working in the Derry region in a very lively environment in terms of high tech. There is a university, there is a college for further education, and in one of our speakers, we will in the second part of this program will discuss also the Center for Industrial Digitalisation, Robotics and Automation, which the CIDRA Center, which goes quite in line with the activity that are also happening in Pori. As I said, our scope is within the skill strategy of the council, the Derry City and Strabane Council, and is really the focus at the moment is around creating the appetite for advanced technology skills in young people, starting from the schools and going up to young entrepreneurs until first employment in the companies, into the business system environment in there. I mean, there are some good names in the business system like Seagate, for example. If you involved in digital tech, you probably know this company and many others. Now, the objective of this event is really two phases. As I said, the first side is a bit more of knowledge about the skills in Industry 4.0, the trends, the activities that are happening in Europe. The second part is more about the cities. And the cities will show some of the examples and activities they are doing. So without really say more, maybe I'll go straight to the first speaker. Pirita, what do you think?
No. Yes, I want to say a few words about it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. Good afternoon, everybody, and I'm happy to be part of this event also, and especially organization by the city of Derry and Pori, and with focus on the advanced digital skills. And as Mrs. Aino-Maija Luukkonen mentioned, that Intelligent City Challenge program and the Back to Skills are interesting, particularly from upskilling and reskilling point of view. And our focus in the cities of Pori is Industry 4.0's related competencies. And I would like to start by introducing you about Open Platform Entrepreneurship's Education for Future Work project. This project is supporting work-life skills and entrepreneurships. And these skills are important today, and we expecting them to be even more important in the future. Entrepreneurship education is secondary, and higher education have positive impact in terms of young student work-life skills, and these studies give courage for setting up new businesses, for example, Industry 4.0 context. In the Entrepreneurship 2020 Action Plan in Commission, European Commission has emphasized that entrepreneurship education needs to be incorporated in the field of education, including non-formal learning. And this action has been taken both in Europe-wide as well in city of Pori to implement different kinds of entrepreneurship education activities. So what is entrepreneurship education in practices, and how do we inspire the teach students in order to give them best abilities because future entrepreneurships? And entrepreneurship education starts from voluntary entrepreneurships, where the goal is to find each student individual entrepreneurial attitude to obtain thinking and operation methods. And we also have a startup learning path is one of the good examples for this. And one of the things that what our project is aimed is to support secondary voluntary education and higher education university, companies and various stakeholders by building open digital platform for entrepreneurship education, of course, but also for cooperation networking. And this platform is, of course, open to all, and we welcome all relevant parties, entrepreneurship education to join cooperation and network. And our main goal is that platform that we make increasingly the visibility of student skills and digitizing and gamified entrepreneurship education studied and develop new cooperation project. But also I want to mention about little bit about Robocoast. I would also like to say a few about that. The Robocoast EDIH Consortium consists 15 universities, several RDA laboratories and testbed environments, over 85,000 students and 9,000 specialists in research and development, over 800 robotics, AI, ICT and cybersecurity companies. We have world-class expertise in cyber technology, AI, robotics and energy technology, and we serve the 9,800 manufacturing companies in Finland, which is 42% in Finnish total number of manufacturing companies as well. European and international companies, our share of Finland export is 42% in this area. Robocoast is a one-stop shop, will help companies export and manufacturing sector and their subcontracting companies to boost their innovation and networking effort, and the partner in their digital transformational journey. And one of the goals is to share knowledge for best practices, and companies can arise their knowledge for specialization, example, Industry 4.0 context. And of course, we offer unique career possibilities and have our role in solve the skills gap in Finland, as well having role in the pact for skills and ECCT accordingly. Lastly, before welcoming the next speaker, a few words about this event. I'm happy to have this possibility to share our solution for finding talents and closing skill gap with Pori ICC and Skill Pact in initiatives. Open platform entrepreneurship education for future work project and Robocoast have their role in the Skills Pact as many other key players in the city of Pori. I hope you all have inspiring day today and take this opportunity to learn from our great keynote speakers, but I also want to encourage you to also contact us, find the needed partners, and European Commission Advanced Technology Reports will be presented by Giorgio Micheletti, and then Professor Martin McGinnity from Derry Center for Industrial Digitalisation, Robotics and Automation will be focusing on smart factories, needed Industry 4.0 skills. And we will have a company keynotes well, Jyrki Antonen from Cimcorp and Jori Huhtaniemi from Huhtaware Limited for harbor technology solution and Robocoast 5G test bed. Finally, we will end this great event from Margaret Queen, Program Manager at ERNACT. And take time discussion and during the events chat, you can use it chat also, and you can also put it your hands on and make sure that you get contacts for future cooperation and development also. But now, Saverio, you can continue to say.
Yes, just quickly, I want to introduce the first part. I mean, the first part is has two elements. On one side is Giorgio Micheletti. On the other side, there is Timothy Janisch. Giorgio will give us, if you want, an overview or some assessment of the technologies or advanced technologies on which we are focusing, that they go under the big spectrum of Industry 4.0 framework. And then a team will explore more the area of skills and the future of work in relation to those technologies. Giorgio, if you want to start sharing your slides while I'll introduce you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, Giorgio Micheletti is from IDC. IDC, I think, is quite well-known analyst consultancy company. Why we invited Giorgio? Because Giorgio is working on this very great report they are producing in collaboration, I think, with other in a consortium for the European Commission, which are the advanced technology for industry. They are very nice reports, I have to say, very well done. They provide you overviews on technologies, but they go deeper in some specific technology. So very useful. I personally am using them in my teaching, in my webinars, because very good view on where the technology is going and where Europe is going within this technology landscape. So I'll leave Giorgio to give you an idea on those advanced technologies. Thank you, Giorgio, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Saverio. I hope you all can see my screen.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Yeah, great. So first of all, thank you again, and thank you for to the representatives of the cities of Derry, Londonderry, and Pori. It's obviously an honor for me to be in this forum, and yeah, thank you, Saverio. You introduced the my contribution very well. The idea here is to provide you with an overview of the technology side that underpins Industry 4.0, and I'll explain where this comes from. And then I understand that the next speaker from Cappegimini will focus a bit more on the skills aspects related to the Industry 4.0. So yes, my name is Giorgio Micheletti. I come from IDC. IDC is a market research company in its core business, but we also have a unit where I work with dedicated to studies and research and innovation projects for the European Commission. And I am currently working on this ATI project, so Advanced for Industry project, together with a consortium of companies that you see at the bottom of this slide. So there's IDC, there's Technopolis in Belgium, we have the Fraunhofer Institute in Germany, IDEA Consulting, it's also a Belgian consultancy, Nesta is in the UK, and we have Cappegimini Invent in the Netherlands as well. The project is almost at the end, so we have 1 month and a half to go. We have another couple of events, and we'll share with Saverio and the other representatives the links to these events, because I think that you can have a look and maybe get some inspiration. But in essence, what is this project? The project started 2.5 years ago, and the idea was to systematically monitor the technology trends behind what the European Commission calls the industry modernizations and digital transformation processes. So the concept is clearly very close to Industry 4.0. And the idea here has been to provide a series of quantitative and qualitative elements to understand these trends, to size the trends, to understand the future trends of these technologies. And this is clearly linked to two of the main streams of the current European Commission's policy efforts, so both the digital future and the European Green Deal. So there is an interconnection here between Industry 4.0, if you want, digital transformations and Green Deal. If I move to this next slide, so you'll see what is the, when I say the technology angle here, so what are the technologies that we are looking into in details in this project, and why are they important for digital transformations, industry modernizations, and ultimately Industry 4.0? Well, we have 16 technologies that we have identified as advanced technologies together with the European Commission. By the way, I forgot to mention this is done for DG Grow, right? So it's in the same field and the same DG that is also involved in your project. We have 16 technologies that had been previously called key enabling technologies, but then there were we added additional technologies. So now the buzzword, if you want, is advanced technologies for industry. We have technologies that are typically digital per se, and I would say they are the core, or let's say the basis of Industry 4.0. Without these technologies, there's little we can do in terms of industry modernizations and digital transformations. I'm talking about big data, for example, cloud computing, connectivity, obviously, but also IoT, for example. So these are technologies, digital technologies that are a bit widespread and horizontal in nature. We also have technologies, however, that are more industry specific, so they tend to be a bit more niche or extremely important in some specific value chains and industry sectors. And I'm referring here to advanced materials, for example, advanced manufacturing technologies. We can see well, Internet of Things in to some extent, photonics, robotics, and so on. As I said, the project has produced and it is producing a series of different facts and figures and qualitative analysis. I'm not going into these details, but you can find, and I'll share the link to the of our project. You can have, for example, the sectoral reports, so specific on some industry sectors. You can have international reports, meaning that we are looking also what's happening and what's going on in other international contexts, mainly in the US, but also in China. That's very important because there is not much in terms of research about China at this stage, but also other non-European countries like, for example, the UK or Russia and so on. We have a product watch, so meaning, for example, looking at which kind of products can be actually developed from the applications of these technologies. And we have technological watch that looks at the future trends of these technologies and so on. In terms of methodology, I'm not going to be long on this, but essentially we looked both at the generation of these technologies, so where do these technologies are developed in Europe, and looking primarily, but not only, at a fundamental element like patents. So where are patents registered and developed in Europe, in which countries, in which universities, in which research centers, and we looked at the actual investments and framework conditions around these technologies. So how much investments, what are the skills that are available in Europe, and then we look at the actual applications, so meaning the deployment and the uptake of these technologies. This is an example of the analytical reports that we have been producing that you'll find on our website. Again, you've got the different types here of reports. I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but where I would like to spend some time is on this slide. It gives you an overview or a sense of how these advanced technologies and how much these advanced technologies are currently uptaken, meaning adopted or deployed in Europe. So this is analysis of EU27. It's an analysis coming from a survey, so a quantitative survey that we have conducted actually in November, December last year. So the results are still quite valid because they are less than 6 months old. Around an overall sample of 1,500 companies in Europe across EU27. So you can see that there are technologies that are widely uptaken and deployed, but these technologies tend to be those digital technologies that I mentioned earlier. So if you look at the top of this slide, so you got those that have more than 60%, excuse me, uptake are connectivity, cloud computing, advanced manufacturing, security. So without this technology, there's not much that can go on in terms of digital transformations, Industry 4.0. There are technologies that are still quite largely uptaken. I'm referring to the second layer here, so mobility, big data, IoT. And then there are technologies that are lagging behind, but they are lagging behind either because they carry with them some issues in terms of ethical concerns that still needs to be ironed out. Also at an international level, there is much going on now. For example, a lot going on in terms of AI, in terms of what kind of usage can AI actually have a lot of discussions between the EU and the United States and how to counter the view that AI has, that China, for example, has on AI, etc. So these are technologies that are there, are a reality, but they still have some issues in terms of actual applications. The same goes to a lesser extent for robotics. And then on the bottom side of this slide, you see those technologies that I said are a bit niche, more industry specific. It doesn't mean that they are not important. It doesn't mean they are not adopted. It's simply that they are a bit more niche in nature, like nanotechnologies, photonics, advanced materials, blockchains, and so on. I think an important element on this slide is also what you can find on the right-hand side here is the concept of co-presence of technologies. In other words, our survey says that companies that are adopting between 2 and 5 of these technologies at the same time are already 78% of the respondents. This is a very good result, if you want, because clearly it's not by adopting one of these advanced technologies that you really achieve a digital transformation. Industry 4.0 can be achieved by a simultaneous uptake of these technologies. So the fact that the co-presence is so widespread in Europe at the moment is certainly a very good sign for now and for the future. This is another slide that gives you an idea of how these technologies are adopted by what we call in IDC vertical markets, but we can call it industry sectors. So on the left-hand side and vertical side, you see that the different on the left-hand side, you see the different technologies, and then you see all the different industry sectors. I've highlighted here a few of them, which certainly are most important, I would say particularly important for Industry 4.0, but obviously the others also come in the mix, so they don't have to be underestimated. But you see that public cloud, IoT, AI, and robotics are widespread. Okay, let's take one by one. Public cloud is clearly adopted widespread across basically all the industry sectors, and it's good like this because without cloud computing, there's not much that we can do. IoT, it's also similarly widespread, but it is particularly important in some sectors like discrete manufacturing, process manufacturing. This is clearly an element where IoT is leading the way, and it's supporting Industry 4.0. Artificial intelligence also particularly important in discrete manufacturing and process manufacturing as well, but also in professional services, telco, and look at telco and media on the right hand side, but also in finance. So artificial intelligence, it's a bit more across all and horizontal in its nature. Robotics, on the other hand, is clearly more manufacturing or oil and gas oriented, but equally important for Industry 4.0. I forgot to mention clearly the size of the bubbles that you see here represents the size of the uptake or the deployment of these technologies by vertical markets. This is another view, but this is a view of the uptake of the single individual technologies, and it's an interesting slide because it gives you let's say a comparison between the results of the survey that we conducted in 2019 with the survey that I mentioned before, whose results were released in November, December last year. So these we conducted 2 surveys altogether, and this gives you an idea of what changed between 2019 and 2020. The results of 2020 are the bars colored in blue. The results of 2019 are the bars colored in orange. And what is interesting in 2019 is that I'm reporting here also the results of those who said that are planning to adopt these technologies in the next year. So I don't want to make it too complicated, but if you let's take as an example the first that you have here, fixed and mobile connectivity, which is again is one of the most widespread adopted technologies because it's fundamental for digital transformations and Industry 4.0. In 2020, at the end of last year, we had I'd say 75%, so that's the blue bar saying that they were already adopting this. If we take it in 2018, this number was higher, and actually people were saying that they would have adopted it even more, but this didn't materialize in 2020. The same goes for other technologies, and look at AI, for example, almost in the top middle of this graph. There was a 30%, sorry, in 2000. There was a 30%, 20%, 30%, sorry, of adoption, saying that they would have come actually almost to 50% in 2020, but then the actual result of 2020 show a much lower results. So why is this? There are different explanations, but I would say that the most logical explanation is what happened in February and March last year. So the COVID-19 and the crisis that ensued clearly create an uncertainty and create actually an economic distress, and this made a lot of companies to stop or let's say cancel altogether a lot of investments in these advanced technologies. Now the signs for the future are much more, as you know, with the new package from the European Commission and then the EU release, then that is clearly the future looks much brighter today. But clearly at the end of last year, the results were like this. The crisis has hit hard. On the other hand, if you look at the bottom side of this slide, you can see that other more niche technologies, as I call them, have done exactly the opposite. If you look at advanced material, blockchain, nanotechnologies, they all had results in 2019 and also a planning for 2020 that were lower than what actually materialized in 2020. So they have scored very well, and they are actually continuing to sustain digital transformation in the Industry 4.0. Yeah, I just wanted to show some of these technologies. This to give you an idea of how the budget allocations by different sectors in terms of advanced technologies is currently divided and distributed in Europe. You can see that there are some sectors that don't spend much in terms of advanced technologies, and there are sectors that are a bit more advanced. When I look at manufacturing in particular, I'm taking manufacturing here because I think this is possibly one of the I don't know if I can call it proxy, but certainly when we talk of Industry 4.0, it's probably the most important. And we can see that a lot is still invested in traditional IT spending. This is the blue part. Advanced technologies, it's only 19%, so it's not that good. There's a lot of to be done, and clearly there's a lot of budgets in industry, industrial equipment, and in R&D, which is definitely good. But the orange part in terms of advanced technologies should be improved. So in terms of policies, this needs to be taken into consideration. I think basically I'm almost, I would say, finished with my presentation because I have other slides, but I don't think we have the time, and it's probably not the case to go into this. I just wanted, if you allow me, Saverio, just 1 minute.
Please.
to introduce you the concept of use cases, which is one of the things that we have analyzed in our reports in this project. Mainly what we are saying here is where are these technologies actually applied. So it's nice to see that a certain percentage of companies say that they are uptaking, so maybe adopting these technologies, but to do what? So in our reports, you can see that there are, we have developed a concept of use cases, and these are just an overall representation. So for each of these technologies, we have identified typical use cases by vertical market, by sectors. Some of them are repeated because clearly they can apply in different sectors. But I think it's important to have this view. And just as an example, if we take different technologies, this is how then the further analysis can be represented. This is an example for AI, so artificial intelligence, top use cases in Europe. Now the size of the bubbles here represent the amount of money that is invested in the different use cases. Use cases are those things that we can see here: automated customer services, diagnosis treatment systems, automated content solutions, and so on. And then we have the two axes. So on the x-axis at the bottom, you see the growth in terms of long terms or medium term growth. So what we expect, how we expect these use cases, so this usage, to grow in the next 4 years. And the y-axis is the short-term growth. So the growth are year on year, 2019 on 2020. And so clearly, if a use case is at the top right end, like asset fleet management, it means that it's going to grow very much in the future. If it's very much in the top, it has grown very much over the past few years, and then the size represents the amount of money that is invested in these use cases. I think I'm stopping here because then I would go on for ages, and it's not fair. So thanks very much. Yeah.
Thank you, Giorgio. This was great. I mean, I know Giorgio has to leave at some point, so maybe if there are some questions, please go ahead. You can unmute yourself and just talk, or you can type it into the chat. I have plenty of questions for Giorgio, but if there is someone in the, shall I break the ice, Giorgio? In your analysis, do you have an analysis per company size? So if you can say something about the adoption in SMEs, for example.
Yes, we do have. I don't have here the results, but yes, the survey, for example, that we have conducted. So not for all the results. There are many other aspects that were analyzed here. I did not represent it in those slides. What I did represent was more the uptake of these technologies taken from the surveys, actually the 2 surveys that we conducted. And the survey, yes, they have a segmentations by company size, as we say, so we can clearly, and we have identified small and medium businesses, as we say in the business sector, or small and medium enterprises, as we say with the European Commission, by isolating, if you want, the results for companies that are up to 250 employees. So there are those results, and there's those results saying is that unsurprisingly, I would say small and medium enterprises do suffer when it comes to investments and skills capability. So the ability to attract the right skills, which, by the way, in Europe we have. So we have the capability to develop these skills, but the problem is to do it quickly and to the right point, to make those skills available specifically for those SMEs, and the difficulty for SMEs to attract investments and to invest in those technologies. So that's very top level, but that's the
okay. Okay, so this can be read anyway in your reporting. Yeah, if you can, Giorgio, and you can share the link of your reporting on the chat for everyone, that would be useful. You know, I have another question, but maybe other people have another question. I may have plenty.
Could I ask a question, Saverio?
Yeah, please, Margaret.
I just wanted to say, first of all, Giorgio, that it is an incredible resource, and I've used it myself for some research in our region. But what I find, I would prefer if it was there. You told me earlier on, or said that it was going to end. This sounds like a very, very useful piece of an asset, a resource for all of us around Europe to see what is happening and to make the case for policy and for investment in, you know, promoting advanced technology uptake.
Yeah, you know, the project was supposed to last 30 months, and it was supposed to actually close at the end of May this year. We've got an extension, meaning that we wanted to conclude and to carry on some research and also to conduct more events like this one. So we've got now until the end of July. We, of course, are eager to hear from the DG Grow if there will be. I'm sure that there will be some sort of continuation, but I'm not in a position to tell you anything about this, unfortunately. So I don't know myself, right? So I'm the first one who would like to continue this activity, of course. But...
Okay, thank you.
Great. Timothy, before going to you, Pirita, do you want to say something?
Yes, I also only want to say, remind you the timetable that if we can end of the session, we can have the questions more.
Yeah, no, I've just took the question for Giorgio because Giorgio will not be able to be at the end. So I was taking a bit more of his time. Okay.
I have a question, if I may, because it's
and then we go straight to you. Come.
Yeah, that's great. So Giorgio, I think one of the challenges that we find, and I think this is a really excellent overview of the technologies that are going to be coming online. I think what everybody struggles with a little bit is, you know, we realize that there are all these emerging technologies, but also thinking about when they're going to be coming online, when they're going to be more prominent, so that we can ensure that we're skilling our workforce with the right skills at the right time. So if we see that, I don't know, predictive analytics isn't going to be a live technology for another 5 or 6 years, you know, we can maybe focus on skilling people in other technologies. Do you in the IDC have a view of the timetable for when these things come on?
Absolutely. So when it comes to these technologies, the 16 that I presented here, the idea of the uptake and the fact that there are technologies that are still lagging behind. If you remember the first slide that I presented, where you've got the different layers, and some of these technologies were clearly at the bottom of those layers. Well, those are technologies where we assume that in the next 3 to 5 years that will be certainly exploding. And but what is also interesting here is that we are now also, one of the reasons why we got also this extension. So we are now working on a specific report, also within the framework of this study. It's about emerging technologies and what we called it with a kind of fancy expression, so beyond the horizon technologies. So it's a continuation, if you want, of those 16 advanced technologies, but more looking into the future. There will be an event on this one, and I can share you, and I will share you, Saverio, not only the link to our project, but also the link to this event. And there will be then a report on this. By the way, as you know, Timothy, also Cappegimini is involved in this, so there will be contributions also from your organization, and so we are also looking into the future. When it comes to your question of saying, okay, where should we focus our skills? I would say that the logical answer would be, let's focus more on those technologies that are medium to highly adopted, and then clearly move on to those who are still a bit looking behind.
Yeah.
Okay,
great.
I will do that.
Great. Thanks
Giorgio.
very much. Thanks very much, Giorgio.
Thank you, Tim.
Giorgio, thank you so much for your presentation. And if you can stay a bit with us until you can, you are welcome.
I can stay for another half hour, but then I really have to go.
Okay, okay. So I have plenty of questions for you, and if you have questions for Giorgio, you can. I'm sure you can find on LinkedIn, or you can email me. I'll put my email address, and I can reverse to Giorgio your questions. So I'll pass to Timothy, and
great.
I guess Timothy will take the skill angle of this story and see. Please, Timothy, the floor is all for you.
Great. Thanks very much, Saverio. And Giorgio, it is great that if you can stay around, because I think when we're talking about skills, I think that you also have some insights that you can add as it relates to the presentation that you've just given. So thanks. Thank you for inviting me to participate in this initiative today. I think that the work that Derry, Londonderry, and Pori have done around workforce skilling is very impressive. We recently prepared a white paper for the European Commission around workforce skilling initiatives that are being driven by cities and regions, primarily in Europe, but also in other countries. And it was really the basics of how do I, as a city or a region, launch a skilling initiative. And I see in the case of Derry, Londonderry, Pori, and Robocoast, of course, that you have quite a mature view and quite a mature process set up for reskilling your people. Just a real quick introduction of myself. I am a senior manager with Cappegimini Invent. It's Cappegimini's consulting business in the Netherlands. We focus primarily on the future of work. How is technology going to be impacting the workforce, and what can organizations do to prepare for the future, to make sure that they have the right people with the right skills in the right numbers in the right jobs at the right time? Easily said, not so easily done. But I think it's easiest if I put it maybe more in terms of we're working with organizations to try to create a sustainable workforce. And when we talk about workforce, we mean not only the people who are currently in employment, but the full range of citizens and people who can potentially be participating in the city or the region's workforce. So I think I'm going to take it up just a little bit for a few minutes here, take the discussion up a little bit for a few minutes. The way that we view, and I think that everybody in this call has an interest in reskilling and upskilling the workforce, and sees it as something that is incredibly important for us. We take the view that that reskilling and upskilling the workforce is the right thing to do, but it's also the smart thing to do. So when we say that it's the right thing to do, it's the right thing to do for our citizens, for the people who live in the cities and the regions in which we live. What we find is that having a sustainable workforce equipped with the right skills enhances people's employability. It improves their believe it or not, it improves their physical and mental health. It improves social cohesion within the society, and it improves civic engagement. So it's the right thing to do for our citizens. It's also the smart thing to do. As we heard from the mayor of Pori early on, having a skilled workforce gives a city or a region a competitive advantage, and it acts as a catalyst for the creation of a virtuous cycle of job creation and growth. And I think that's what you're trying to achieve, particularly in Derry, really where it enables a city to attract and retain employers and employees, so workers with the right skills, to drive the desired economic activity that's wanted in the city or the region. So workforce skilling is the right thing to do. It's also the smart thing to do. Now, the way that we look at this, and I'd be interested if there's a different view on it, but just in terms of a matter of definitions or vocabulary or terms, we tend to look at upskilling as providing people with the opportunities to gain new skills that will help them to perform better in their current role and to take on additional responsibilities and expand their job satisfaction. Whereas reskilling, we look at that a little bit differently. That's when we're giving people new skills, new capabilities to take on different or entirely new roles. The reality of it is upskilling and reskilling can blur together. We can work to skill people to make them more effective in their current role, while we're also preparing them for the roles of the future. I think that everybody recognizes that the upskilling, the reskilling, so the training people to do new jobs is particularly critical in what we would call operationally intensive sectors: manufacturing, transportation, retail, insurance, in operational roles such as claims processing and administrative roles, where the impacts of technology are really going to result in a lot of roles being displaced, radically changed, or eliminated entirely. I think everybody is familiar with the expression of Industry 4.0. I think it's a bit of a creation, maybe even a marketing creation over the past decade. Actually, I think it came out of the World Economic Forum, but it's really all about the trends towards automation and data exchange, technology and processes coming together in the manufacturing industry. We see four broad themes that are in Industry 4.0 that are having impacts on the skills that are required in the workforce. So I can talk about these four themes for a minute, and I think that everybody hopefully will recognize them. The first one that we're seeing is, of course, the rise of automation. So we already see with many of our clients and across society that automation is disrupting many jobs. The COVID crisis has only accelerated that. I need to look no further than my local grocery store, which used to have 4 checkout lanes with cashiers. Today, a year and a half into the COVID crisis, they have 1 checkout lane with a cashier and 6 self-service terminals for you to do your grocery shopping at. So we're seeing automation rising, yes, as a consequence of COVID, but also just as a way for organizations to help make themselves more efficient, more effective, and to serve their customers better. I think research from the World Economic Forum that we saw, I think it's been around for a couple of years. It's from last year, 2020. Research indicated that automation is going to impact as many as 85 to 100 million roles over the next 4 years. Clearly, automation is going to result in the elimination of a lot of jobs. It's going to free people up to take on new roles. Some of those new roles will be related to technology, and I'll talk about that. Some of those roles may be more strategic or more high level, but the people who are freed up because their roles are eliminated, because their role is eliminated due to automation, can only be successful in making that step to the next role if they have the right skills to assume that next job. So automation is the biggest theme impacting skills that we see coming out of Industry 4.0. I think the second theme, and this really speaks to Giorgio's presentation of a few minutes ago, is that there are new technologies coming online, and new technologies mean new skills. So AI, data analytics, blockchain, robotics require unique skills. All of those skills right now are in high demand and in short supply, and it's a situation that we expect is only going to exacerbate over time. The third trend that we see coming out of out of Industry 4.0 is that there are new roles that are emerging that aren't necessarily related to the technologies. So you see, as the technologies become more advanced, roles to supervise, program, and troubleshoot machines and complex systems are being created. I was reading an article a couple of weeks ago about the hot in-demand roles for the coming 10 years, and not a single one of the roles was a job that I had that any of us had ever even heard of or conceived of as recently as 10 years ago. So you're definitely seeing new roles being created that will require new skills. And then finally, as Giorgio referenced, we see the development of more technologies that we can't even predict today. We can't even foresee the skills right now. We can't even foresee the skills that those technologies are going to be required. But I think that inputs such as the work being done by the IDC can be really important for all of us to use as we're thinking about, as we're planning, and as we're implementing our workforce skilling strategies. So to get into the area of skills just a little bit more in depth, I think in general that we can all agree that we see a high and increasing demand for technical skills. This is quite clear. As we talked about at the end of Giorgio's presentation, it's really going to be important to understand how these emerging technologies are developing, how they're being adopted and adapted for use within industry, so that we can anticipate and plan our workforce skilling strategies in line with the new technologies that are coming online. We see in the work that we do, we see four broad areas for skills development in technology. We see networking, and by networking I mean information technology and Internet of Things networking skills. So that's around smart factories, connected machines, remote sensors, freight condition monitoring, intelligent analysis, all of those things. But networking of IT and IoT systems is going to be an incredibly important skill over the foreseeable future. The second biggest skill that we're seeing, technical skill that we're seeing right now, is data related. So we're seeing with every organization that we work with that data analysts, data architects, and data scientists are in increasingly high demand. I can speak from experience on this one a little bit. My own daughter recently graduated at the height of COVID with a degree in physical therapy. Of course, there were no roles available in physical therapy during COVID, and she's had to reinvent herself as a data analyst, and eventually will grow to become a data scientist. So in addition to networking of IT and IoT systems, data-related roles are increasingly important. The third major area for technical skills is going to be developers and software engineers. So people who are writing code for industrial control and automated systems, which are a key feature of Industry 4.0, management platforms for industrial use and enterprise planning, data visualization tools for dashboarding, industrial data, and code for giving robotic systems their orders, giving them their instructions, and to better facilitate the human-machine interaction. So we see a high demand for developers and software engineers. And finally, I think although the opportunities that are being presented by Industry 4.0 are really unprecedented, which is why we consider it kind of an industrial revolution, there are substantial risks. With the increasing use of wireless and interconnected technologies, we're seeing an increased focus on cyber and cybersecurity skills. As everything moves away from closed IT ecosystems and it begins to be more open, it creates a rise in security risks. So any organization that's considering to implement Industry 4.0 technologies is also looking at implementing or bringing in security expertise at the same time to make sure that the systems that they're implementing are going to be safe and secure. In some ways, I think the anticipating or predicting, in some ways, knowing what technologies are coming online is almost the easy part. As we've seen in the work of IDC, we have a pretty good idea of what technologies are coming online, even if it isn't entirely clear when they're coming online. But we also see a lot of other things that are sort of happening in the Industry 4.0 in the Industry 4.0 move. We're seeing new business models, we're seeing changing customer expectations, we're seeing new organizational designs, so moving away from hierarchical to flatter organizations. We're also seeing these emerging technologies. One of the big conclusions that we've come to through both our research as well as in working with clients on the ground is that it is difficult, if not impossible, to predict the future with complete certainty. I mean, that's just a given, right? And so what we're seeing, particularly amongst our clients, they may have technology challenges related to Industry 4.0. But when we're working with them and we're talking with them, what we really see that they need is in addition to technical skills to meet short-term challenges, what they really need in terms of skills is what we call soft skills. Okay, that can be things such as adaptability, or able to work in an ever-changing environment. It can be the ability to work independently or to work as part of a team, depending on how the organization is changing. It's going to be soft skills such as analytical thinking and innovation. It can be things like critical thinking and analysis, creativity, originality, taking initiative. So there's a whole set of soft skills that we really need to be developing as we're developing the technical skills to meet the challenges of Industry 4.0. The most important of those soft skills is really developing within our workforce a mind shift, a culture shift, where we focus on a culture of continuous learning. So what you learned in trade school, what you're learning in trade school today is not going to be sufficient for the job that you may have in 3 years, 5 years, or 10 years. So we have to foster this culture of continuous and lifelong learning within workers. This has to be self-motivated to some degree. We can take the horse to the water, but we can't always make the horse drink. So it's really a mind shift to move people towards more active learning and taking responsibility for their own development to meet the challenges of Industry 4.0. These soft skills are what I would refer to as a set of skills that are transferable, and they're skills that will enable people to adapt more quickly, more readily to changing workforce demands. We had a conversation this morning where we're very much focused on exactly these soft skills for our own people, to make sure that people can continuously learn and continuously develop, whether they're 18, 38, or 58 years old. I think that to kind of move towards the conclusion here, at Cappegimini, we're very much focused on working with our clients in both the public and the private sector to develop workforce skilling strategies. One of the things that we've learned in working with our clients is that we can't do this in a vacuum. We can't do it, us and a client developing a workforce skilling strategy. It can only be successful when we're working in an ecosystem. The ecosystem has to include all of the stakeholders, all of the relevant stakeholders. So public sector, private sector, education, civil society, employee associations, all of the different stakeholders need to be brought along in that ecosystem. I think that what we've seen with, in the case of Derry, Londonderry, Pori, and of course Robocoast, is that these are really, really good examples. This is a really excellent example of how important the ecosystem is to any skilling strategy that a city or a region would choose for. And they really show good examples of how an ecosystem can be successfully implemented. We contributed to, or we drafted, as I said, we drafted a guide for the ICC, the Intelligent Cities Challenge, and we featured Derry, Londonderry, and Pori and Robocoast in that skills guide, because we thought that they were such great examples that other cities and other regions that are seeking to upskill and reskill their people can refer to. With that, I will conclude. I'm not sure if we have any time for questions, but
thank you, Tim. I think we are 3 minutes late, but it's my fault because I took a question for Giorgio. But maybe if there are some,
I asked one of the questions.
A couple of questions for Tim, and then we have a break. Anyone? Oh, I can. I'll have a lot of questions also for you, Tim, but maybe I'll just for one. Yeah?
Okay.
On your last point on the ecosystem, which is a skill in itself, the ecosystem building, the ecosystem management, and particularly from small, medium-sized cities, is not an easy task. So, who should lead there? Who should be the leader in building the ecosystem? And how the SMEs should enter this ecosystem, because the SMEs does not have the time. Despite they need the skills, they do not have the time to look up for skills. So what do you suggest to your client?
Yeah, at least with the work that we've done for the EC, it was our assumption that in the case of cities and regions, that the city and the region was going to be responsible or have the stewardship over the ecosystem. I think that can be different depending on the situation that the city or the region finds itself in. But somebody needs to take responsibility for organizing and maintaining the ecosystem. We've seen examples where ecosystems were created with a lot of fanfare, a lot of PR, but because nobody took responsibility for maintaining the ecosystem, it just falls apart. But one of the things that we recommend for a city or a region is that if you don't know where to start in developing an ecosystem, seek external expertise. There's no reason that a city or region should not develop an ecosystem if they don't have the skills. We would strongly recommend that you find a resource, either European, national, or external, maybe a consulting firm, to help you to develop and maintain that ecosystem.
Great, Tim. As I said, I have many questions, but I think I stop here. I hope you can stay with us
I will.
for the second part of the session. We will have now 10 minutes break. Pirita, is that okay? So we'll start again at my 11:31. Yeah, so 10 minutes to have a coffee and then thank you, Tim. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much about.
Right. Do we have a professor?
Yeah, 10 minutes break and then we come back.
Yes.
With next speaker, with Martin MacGinnity.
Adam, are you there?
Yeah. Maybe can check.
I'm here, Saverio.
Yeah, can you see him?
Let me see here.
Also, Adam, if you want to introduce him, and so you can say a couple of words on Derry too, that would be good too.
I can't see him yet. I'll send him a message here.
I mean, we can always, Pirita, we can always do the other way around. We can start with the Pori case studies and then go on the Derry side. But let's see if he's joined.
Yes. That's easier because we have already our speakers.
Yeah, I mean, the Pori representation is here.
Is here. Yeah, we are so tricky on timetable.
Hello, Martin. We're just waiting for everyone to come back from their break here. So sorry for the delay.
Hello. You don't hear?
Hi, Pirita. It's Adam. I just informed Martin. We're just waiting for everyone to come back from their break.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
You can try to share the screen if you want to try it.
Sure, I can
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah, because we can try that. It is already working.
Yeah. Can you see my screen now?
Not yet.
No, not yet.
Okay, hold on.
There's a right corner in there. That's sharing link. My screen is up there. There's a. You can take there to share.
It doesn't.
Last button, right corner up there. I have. No.
Hold on. For some reason, it doesn't appear to be sharing with you. Even though it should.
It might be down to the fact that Martin is listed as a guest. So maybe it's.
But everybody can share the screen.
Everyone can share. Okay.
And you've granted me permission to share, have you?
Yeah, because there is everybody can share.
Everybody can share.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shall I make you attendee? See if
Yeah. Try that. Yeah.
Try now.
No, now I don't have any rights to share at all.
Okay, let me go back to it.
Let me log out and log in again. Okay. See if that makes sense. Yeah, I'll only be a second. I'll leave and come back.
Okay.
Yes.
So maybe Adam, you can introduce a bit, say a couple of words on Derry while we are waiting for the professor. We are almost back. It's 11:30 my time. So
Yes.
1 minute left of break, but you can start.
Hi everyone, I'm Adam Goodall from Derry City and Strabane District Council, and I work as part of the ICT team for the city with both Saverio, our lead expert, and Margaret Quinn, who's also on the call here. We've heard from a lot of the great other speakers this morning. We're now going to hear from Professor Martin MacGinnity. Martin MacGinnity, or the professor, sorry, is he's the head of the Intelligent Systems Research Centre at Ulster University, and he's going to talk to you about the Centre for Industrialised Digital Robotics and Automation. This is one of the research centres that's established or in the process of being established in this city, and it aims to address some of the major impending challenges for both industry and commerce and help prepare for Industry 4.0 and the next industrial revolution. I'm sure Martin, once he joins, will give you more information, but it focuses on a lot of the key industries or technologies that have been discussed and raised in the previous conversation. So artificial intelligence, robotics, automation, the Internet of Things, and industrial digital technologies. So I'll pass you on to Martin now. Martin will give you a more detailed overview on this. Thank you.
Thanks, Adam. My sharing is completely grayed out now. Only meeting organisers and presenters can share. So can anyone give me permission to share?
Yeah.
You should have automatically the permission to share as you join.
Yes.
I don't. It's
You don't.
The button's grayed out. Yeah.
Can you send it for like Saverio or Adam from your presentation? Then they can maybe then become much more easy way.
Yeah, let me email. Yeah.
Can you see? Can you try now? See if it goes.
Can you see my screen now?
No.
Yeah. Okay. I'll email the presentation and then we can do it that way.
Mm-hmm. Sorry for the delay.
Yeah, apologies. I've sent that to you, Adam.
Adam, are you muted?
I'm just waiting to see if I receive it. I haven't received it just yet.
Perhaps we should go on with the next speaker, if that's possible.
Yeah.
But certain aside, rather than delay everyone.
Okay, Pirita, shall we go with next speaker and then we come back to the professor?
Unless you've got it now, Adam.
No, I still don't have it yet.
Yeah, okay.
Pirita, sorry for the inconvenience. These are happening stuff all the time. Shall we go with the next speaker and then we go back to the professor? Sorry, Martin.
Yeah, apologies.
Yeah, let's change then. Then we have I have pleasure to say about it that the next speaker will be then Cimcorp, which is a leading player in the field of automation and digital transformation of the tire industry. And I'm happy to introduce you for Jyrki Antonen, Cimcorp Technology Director. And we have pleasure to be work together with the Robocoast Consortium and help each other. And Please, Jyrki, you are welcome and you can start.
Thank you. Thank you, Pirita. Does my screen sharing work? I think that
Yes,
didn't have any problem. Good, thank you. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jyrki Antonen, and I work as the technology director in a Finnish company called Cimcorp. And today I will be telling you about Industry 4.0 at Cimcorp. And first of all, thank you for inviting me, Pirita, and it is a pleasure to be here. So we have already heard very interesting speeches. I'm sure that there are a lot of people who don't have any idea about Cimcorp, so I will begin by giving a short company introduction. As you can see, Cimcorp's business is intralogistics, and there might be even an official definition for intralogistics, but in Cimcorp's case, and according to my own interpretation, it means optimizing both the material and data flow inside a manufacturing plant or a distribution center. And Cimcorp is a systems integrator, meaning that we deliver turnkey automatic material handling systems to our customers. And as very important part of these systems, we have Cimcorp's own device and software products. But on top of that, we use devices and subsystems from other suppliers too. Cimcorp's responsibility is to integrate everything together to form a functioning system. And today, Cimcorp has two main business areas. They are tire industry and logistics automation. So the tire industry means mostly tire manufacturing, but it also covers tire distribution. And the main sectors inside logistics automation, they are grocery retail, food and beverage industries, and one rising sector definitely is e-commerce. And as this slide says, we don't just aim to deliver a solution to our customers. Instead, we aim to partner with our customers and provide them different lifecycle services throughout the whole lifecycle of the system. And definitely Industry 4.0 has an important role in creating these services. So some facts and figures. Cimcorp was established in 1975, so we already have quite a long history in the business. And today we are fully owned by Japanese Murata Machinery, and that has been since 2014. We have actually over 500 employees, and the group revenue is in the range of 130 million euros. Our global headquarters is in Ulvila, Finland, which is the neighboring city from Pori, so we are in the Pori area. And our North American head office is in Grimsby, that's close to Toronto, Canada. And in addition to those, we have offices in Atlanta, USA, Chennai, India, Madrid, Spain, and Villach, Germany. By looking at these figures only, it might seem that Cimcorp is a small player, but with Murata Machinery, our Japanese parent company, we are actually a little bit bigger because Murata Machinery has over 7,700 employees and about 2.5 billion euro revenue. By revenue, Murata is the fourth largest logistics automation supplier in the world. So with the help of Murata Machinery, Cimcorp is actually in the same league with its big competitors, which we face today, especially in the logistic automation business area. And here you can see some of our customers. And as you can see, Cimcorp operates globally. That has always been the case from the very beginning. The world has been our market area. Today, Cimcorp is already very well established in the tire industry, with 7 out of the 10 largest tire manufacturers as Cimcorp's customers. And in the logistics automation business, there is still much more to gain. But I would say that with our latest innovations, we are on the right track. And we already have some very good references there. For example, with Spanish retailer Mercadona or German retailer Edeka, which are one of the most recent projects that we have had in the area. And then Industry 4.0. I think that it is something that different people may have a little bit different understanding of that. And there are a lot of related terms like industrial IoT, big data, smart factories, artificial intelligence, lean manufacturing, to mention a few. And actually, we saw a good listing of the 16 advanced technologies and their adoption in Giorgio's presentation earlier. But as I see it, in a very simple way, Industry 4.0 refers to collecting data from different sources and processing the data to get something valuable out of it. And of course, to make this happen, different technologies are needed, like in Cimcorp's case, networking of the machines and systems to collect the data, a database to store the data, different methods of analytics like traditional analytics and artificial intelligence to process the data, ways to visualize the results of the analytics for people, and also ways of feedback to control the process with the results of the analytics. And how about today? Where are we with Industry 4.0 at Cimcorp? I would say that Cimcorp's automatic material handling systems inherently have, and they always have had, a very good basis for Industry 4.0, even a long time before we knew anything about Industry 4.0. And this comes from two facts. So from the very beginning, Cimcorp systems, they have been networked, meaning that all the elements of the systems, they are interconnected. And all parts of the system, they are also intelligent, meaning that there is some kind of independent control system controlling them. And also, from the very beginning, Cimcorp's systems, they have produced data in different forms, like as log files and as stored data in a database. And throughout the years, the data from the systems, it has been used ad hoc, meaning when needed, and it has always required special expertise and I would say that extensive manual work. For example, when a device has behaved unexpectedly, causing trouble at our customer's operation, or in the worst case, stopped the whole production, the reason is not necessarily always so obvious. And in such cases, we have needed a specialist to go through log files, databases, and other information to try to figure out what really happened and what was the root cause for that. Usually, the whole process is slow, and there are only very few specialists capable of doing it. And during the years, to improve the situation, of course, we have built tools to process the log files automatically, for example, but still there is a lot of manual work involved and a lot of expertise required. And in many cases, we really need to be able to combine data from many different sources to get what we really want. And at Cimcorp, we have made the conclusion that we will need a more holistic approach to data. And therefore, we nominated a product manager for analytics a couple of years ago. Although we call it analytics, I would say that it is more or less equal to Industry 4.0. And until now, we have made several proof of concept level analytics implementations, and we have also used them in real situations. We have also made cooperation with the local university And all this we have found very useful and promising. And I would say that this is only the preparation for what is yet to come. And why are we involved with Industry 4.0? Why are we making the effort? What are we pursuing with it? We are not implementing Industry 4.0 technologies ahead or Industry 4.0 itself ahead. Instead, we are implementing it because of the benefits it can provide. In other words, we need to have the use cases for it. And on the very high level, I would say that we are talking into services to be sold to our customers and tools for ourselves. If we talk about the services for our customers, of course, there needs to be a clear customer benefit for all the services. And ultimately, all the benefits are related to money. They need to enable better profit to our customers. And clear benefits we can see that we can achieve with analytics are, for example, maximizing the utilization of the production machinery, meaning that they are not standing still. There is always material available. Maximizing the availability of the whole system, meaning, for example, avoiding any unnecessary or unplanned stops. Minimizing quality problems, meaning that, for example, to really get an early warning before something really starts to go wrong with the production. And if there is a quality problem, really to find the root cause as quickly as possible. And all these, they are very concrete and also measurable benefits with a clear business case. And of course, these benefits, they break down to various smaller pieces to make up the big benefit. For example, to maximize the availability of the system, there is the classic example of predictive maintenance. I think that everybody is talking about predictive maintenance in the context of Industry 4.0. But this is very, very, I would say, relevant use case, meaning that the analytics could detect an abnormal behavior and based on that, give the operator an early warning that something will go wrong. With this, our customer can check and fix the problem before it produces any unplanned downtime. So definitely very, very important feature for our customers. And then if we talk about tools for Cimcorp, they could be tools, for example, for our commissioning people or for the help desk people. A couple of examples. The automatic material handling systems, they can be, and they usually are, very large systems. It is very difficult to point out, for example, which device is not performing as it should, or even more, what is the root cause for the specific device not to perform as it should. But with the help of analytics, we can have the tools to pinpoint the exact problem. And definitely this provides tools for our commissioning people to do their job both more effectively and more efficiently. And as predictive or as redundant we try to make the system, there will always be room for something unexpected to happen. In such a case, our customer typically calls Cimcorp's help desk. We do have a 24/7 help desk for our customers, and very often either part of the production is down or as I said, in the worst case, the whole production is down. And in such a case, you can literally say that time is money. We need as good tools for the help desk people as possible to find the solution to the problem. And again, with the help of analytics, we can provide this. And of course, in the end, all tools for Cimcorp, they are also our customers' benefit. And overall, Cimcorp sees a huge potential for Industry 4.0 in the future. I would say that the opportunities are almost unlimited. And in the low end of the scale, we have simple statistic, simple analytics. And in the other end, we could have, for example, an autonomous tire factory. I admit that that's still a long way ahead, but I would say that it is not totally unrealistic scenario. But definitely we will need to be able to prioritize. We will face technical challenges and we will need to find the right partners. And of course, all these ecosystems, they are a good way to find the partners. But after all this, I would say that it is normal engineering work, which is one of Cimcorp's core strengths. And I totally agree with Timothy with the soft skills. It is definitely not enough to have the hard engineering skills only. We need something else too. But as a conclusion, I believe that Industry 4.0 will be one of the things giving Cimcorp a competitive edge in the future. And that is why it will definitely remain on our agenda. So that was my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't know if we can have one question maybe, and then meanwhile, we can try the presentation with Martin. What do you think, Pirita?
Yes.
Shall we have a question? Anyone has a question? I have one. Can I have one?
Yes.
Can you give us the skill profile of your company? What type of skills you have, and which one do you struggle to find? If that is the case, maybe you don't, but if that is, yeah.
The skill profile from the very beginning, Cimcorp has been basically an engineering company. So I would say that most of our people, they have some kind of engineering background. So we don't have any manufacturing by ourselves. We use subcontractors for that. So we are very heavily relying on engineering skills. And if we talk about Industry 4.0, of course, there will be some new skills required, which we don't traditionally have. We have mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, automation engineering, and even some software engineering. But with this analytics, we still need some new type of skills. And I would say that in general, we are struggling to find software resources. And I would say that this analytics, it is also the same story.
Okay.
There are not too many people around available.
Okay. Okay. I can go on and on. Martin, maybe you can try to share the screen. Jyrki, thank you for your contribution. Maybe if you stay with us, we can have some more questions towards the end.
I can.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jyrki, very much about it.
You are muted. Let me unmute you.
Can you see my screen?
No, we can't.
Okay.
No. Does Adam has the presentation?
I don't have the presentation, but I have some slides that you previously would have presented, Martin, on overview of CIDRA with Dr. Quinn. I can share them. They're 4 slides. Or you can feel free to talk.
Just give me 1 second, actually.
Something came on the screen there.
Sorry, that was me, Adam, playing to make sure to see if I could be persistent.
It might be loading up now, so just give it a second. Can you see it now?
I can. Thank you very much.
Right.
Okay, good. Okay. So good afternoon, everyone, and apologies for the technical hitches. So my name is Martin MacGinnity, and I'd like to spend a few more minutes talking about this proposed centre we have, which is the Centre for Industrial Digitalisation, Robotics and Automation. This centre is part of the Derry and Londonderry City deal, which is a set of strategic growth projects funded by a number of partners, but particularly by UK government. So you can still see these, I take it, yeah?
Yes, we see.
Yes, we can. Yeah,
okay.
great.
Okay, good. So the city deal then within the Londonderry District Council, Derry City and Strabane District Council comprises 7 major projects, 7 digital innovation projects, and this is really a distinct partnership between the City Council and Ulster University. And it comprises a number of components of an investment package. As you can see there, 105 million from UK Treasury and 105 from the Northern Ireland Executive. And then there's some contributions from Ulster University and other partners. The university is involved in 3 projects, the ones highlighted in the red boxes here. So the CAR project is about data analytics. The CIDRA project I'll talk about now. And the third project is a combined medical school and Thrive project, which is all about personalized medicine and the establishment of a new medical school. And you can see the relative investment proportions there. So this comprises a vision for the city, which is to position the city as a location that's very strong in terms of AI, data analytics, personalized medicine, robotics, and other digital technologies. And it's obviously set against this backdrop of Industry 4.0, which we know has been somewhat hyped up in terms of the title, but is not hyped up in terms of the actual technologies. So the CIDRA project, as I'll talk about in a second, is essentially about industrial digitalization and supporting companies to adopt the digitalization technologies. And of course, as has been mentioned a number of times during the previous speakers, there's a need for a pipeline of skilled graduates and postgraduates to work and live in the region. So there's a skill base for companies, and this is a huge challenge. And of course, it all aligns with regional and national government strategy. So moving on to CIDRA then, as I said, it's the Centre for Industrial Digitalization, Robotics and Automation. That gives the thrust of it. If we think of Industry 4.0 skills, you can see these are sort of highlighted on the graphic there. Incorporates many of the things that have been talked about already this morning, in particular issues related to cloud computing, robotics, Internet of Things, etc. Lots of simulation, additive manufacturing, cyber physical systems, all those sort of technologies. The key problem, however, for Northern Ireland and for the Derry City and Strabane District Council region is that a lot of the industry is underprepared. It's underprepared in terms of staffing, it's underprepared in terms of having a digitalization strategy, it's underprepared in terms of skills. And the whole rationale for CIDRA, therefore, is to provide critical support to aid companies to be more competitive, survive and prosper in this age of digitalization, where the challenges in terms of competitiveness will be huge. So it's working in partnership with both industry and the City Council. It's important to this city because quite a substantial number of jobs are in manufacturing in the Derry City Strabane Council region. In the areas adjacent to the Derry City Council region, there are again 15,000 jobs in Mid-Ulster and about 4,000 in the Causeway Coast and Glens Council regions. This is important. And all of these challenges for companies are with obviously COVID and Brexit as a background. The reason we focus on SMEs, which is what we're doing, is that if I look at this graphic here, there's a key market failure. Many of these companies are small, so they can't afford the in-house expertise. They can't afford to have a pool of data engineering, data scientists to advise management. That means management often struggles to get impartial advice. And in some cases, management simply doesn't know where to start. So they're struggling to baseline their current strategy, their current development against the digital strategy. And they lack this technology leadership amongst senior management. They have a limited amount of money to invest. And the problem is they're scared of actually making the wrong investments because they simply don't know what is the best route to investment. And this is where CIDRA will come in. So CIDRA we believe will be a bridge to enhancing productivity. And productivity is the key. Northern Ireland productivity lags behind the UK, and the UK productivity lags behind Europe in general. So we see ourselves as meeting companies where they're at in terms of digitalization. We don't believe there's any point getting in and talking, you know, rail over their heads. A lot of these companies are at the ground zero or close to ground zero in terms of digitalization. Therefore, they need to be met there rather than throwing lots of high tech at them that they simply don't understand. So it's meeting them where they're at and working up towards a high level of digitalization within the companies. So we would provide basic assists, affordable helps. One key thing we will do is provide practical demonstrators, and I'll talk about that in a second. We will also add in virtual test beds, which will allow them to try out digitalization in a virtual setting. Much more than simply simulation. This is a substantial test bed that will allow really good learning and understanding of what's involved. So we're developing skills, confidence, and we're obviously linking into other national Made Smarter initiatives and the catapult centres in mainland UK. SMEs, I say, are important. If we look at the UK economy, 99% of all businesses are SMEs. That's 6 million SMEs. Whereas if you compare that to the number of large companies, you've only got 8,000 large companies. And if you look at the quote there from EPSRC, which is the Engineering and Physical Sciences Research Council, they obviously conclude that boosting SME productivity would have a significant impact on overall UK productivity. Of those SMEs, 6% are in manufacturing. But a key point is that a third of industrial workers are employed in SMEs. And if you look at the quote from the Made Smarter review, they're clear that SMEs are critical to IDT adoption. Another way to look at this is to look at this graph, which is how do the productive companies do relative to all other manufacturers. And you can see there that since 2001, 2013, the data is a bit old now, but the trend is the same. The productivity growth for the larger companies has been quite significant, but for all other manufacturing companies, it's still wandering around there between 10 and 15, 16%. So there is an issue. The data here is from this paper, why do the biggest companies keep getting bigger? And this is very illustrative in that respect. So our engagement model then is we first of all were promoted by the university and industry-facing partners of the consortium. We'll create website demos, training courses, provide assistance at various levels. Sometimes all that's needed is a consultation lasting a couple of hours. In other cases, it's a substantial joint project to create a prototype or a pilot. There'll be engagement with virtual test beds. One key part in our project is that we will have an innovation fund, which will be 50% funded by the project and 50% funded by the companies. And this will allow companies to explore and get into some aspects of digitalization. I've mentioned the link into the high value manufacturing catapults over in England and other manufacturing Made Smarter resources. So that's our engagement model. Our specialist focus then in CIDRA is very much on robotics, automation, the areas in grey. So robotics, automation, additive manufacturing, artificial intelligence, and Internet of Things. We're not actually going to be working on cloud computing or any of the cybersecurity type aspects, which are critically important, of course, but we're focusing on the areas in which we have strong expertise and a track record over several decades. So what will we do? We will be a source of advanced expertise in terms of industrial digitalization, robotics, automation. We will allow for evaluation of designs, for example, rapid prototype and testing of prototypes. We will create a demonstrator hub. So we will invest heavily in robotics and automation equipment, which will allow companies to come in and explore solutions to their particular problems and send their staff to get trained up and get familiar with the equipment, etc. We see it as an ongoing facility to drive partnerships between industry and commerce and the university in terms of development of collaborative research and development, and also the development of professional skills and ongoing upskilling of staff, which is critical, obviously. Just on that point, as it's been mentioned before, there will be staff that will lose their jobs. But clearly, of course, all the reports say there will actually be more jobs created by industrial digitalization than are lost, but they will be a different type of job. And hence, that's where the skills issue comes in with a vengeance. So we will basically support the opportunities from the fourth industrial revolution and the impending fifth, as already been talked about. Our aim is to improve competitiveness and productivity within Northern Ireland companies, and particularly those companies in the Derry City and Strabane District Council region. We will be home to specialist equipment that many companies initially won't have in-house, and therefore they can come and exploit that equipment that we will have. And essentially, we're about creating a new generation of digital literacy among company staff, which will enable the change and innovation that can occur. One key aspect that is also involved is an energy and sustainability data analysis. And as we move towards net zero and the targets on carbon and energy sustainability, we will perform energy analysis of companies, and out of that will come ideally decisions which will relate to more efficient productivity, ways of making things that are less energy intensive, etc. And we'll provide guidance and again some funding through our Data Innovation Fund. I mentioned that we would create virtual manufacturing testbeds. So this again is all about addressing investment confidence. These will be obviously geographically agnostic, which is a big issue for many small companies. There are, as I mentioned, the catapult centres over in England, but it's a huge effort for companies to send staff there and very expensive if they have to spend significant time there, whereas they can come to CIDRA and it's basically very local. And this issue of local versus national is key. There's been a lot of studies done that SMEs will not actually send their staff in any significant numbers for a longish period of time, like more than a day or two, to facilities across the water. So this will enable, for example, process exploration. It'll enable collaboration with technology suppliers, for example, robot supply companies like someone like Cook or whoever, you know, ABB, and so on. So this is really, it's all about the addressing the investment confidence and helping companies decide what they need to do, which, as I mentioned, is one of the big issues. They actually often don't know what they need to do. So we're building on a legacy of, say, over 20 years in robotics and automation, AI, machine learning for industry, a lot of energy work in terms of manufacturing. We do a lot of embedded intelligence in hardware, so we're very familiar with all the IoT, etc., and smart sensing. And we do an awful lot of robots in terms of human-robot interaction. We specifically focus on visual, tactile, and auditory sensing and perceptions that arise from those sensory modalities. I mentioned this is, and there's really no need to stress this, it's clear. This aligns with international, national, and regional policy. The 10 times economy document there has just come out this year, which again stresses the need for the technologies we're talking about. But there's been a whole host of reports, both at European, national, and international level, on the need for industrial digitalization, the potential it offers, and obviously the challenges and the difficulties it will cause companies that actually don't embrace these technologies. So we see ourselves as part of an ecology. CIDRA here, as I mentioned, we're linking into the Thrive and Carl projects, which are the two other innovation projects within the city deal that we're talking about. There are, I mentioned, the national catapults. There's various other activities within Northern Ireland, I4C, for example, we link into. And we have strong linkages in terms of Republic of Ireland international collaboration in this area. And obviously skills development leading into our university, our own university here, Ulster University, but other universities as well, and other further education colleges to develop, for example, technician level skills. On that point, be delighted to collaborate with anyone on this call who would be interested in collaborating with us, and I can see lots of synergies there already. That's it really in a nutshell. And can I thank you for listening? I'm sorry for the technical difficulties at the start. I'd be very happy to discuss any further points that anyone may have or answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Marty. Very, very interesting. Very nice photos of Derry. I don't know if there are questions. I'll have one, mine, the usual one. Now it's the trend of the morning. You said, Martin, that we shouldn't go to SMEs and talk about fancy stuff, but let's talk about the ground zero with them. Which is, on average, the ground zero of an SMEs from a digital point of view? I know that depends on the context, but if you can give us a, yeah.
I think the whole issue there is that it's a whole range of levels. You will have some micro companies where ground zero is that they're not actually, for example, acquiring much data. If they are acquiring data, it's maybe scattered across spreadsheets or even on paper. They're only beginning to think about sensorizing their process, and their back management and recordings of work and process flow and all that is at a very primitive level. Then you can get up to slightly larger companies who've actually started to work on this. And they may have automated parts of their production cycle, but again, there's huge gaps. So this is what I meant about meeting companies where they're at. If I go in and talk to them about a £1 million solution, and they're actually still at base camp, well, they're just not going to either take it on, they're not going to understand. I think this is a progression from initial investments and showing some quick returns, then moving up towards more sophisticated digitalization, and maybe moving up then towards more robotics installations. Probably in the earlier stages, it'll be a lot of sensors, a lot of data capture, and showing the advantage of analysis of that data using AI technologies. And then they might get into more automation, and the robotics will probably come later, because there's a bit of a distrust of robotics, and that needs a little bit, it's sometimes harder to convince companies that they need to invest in robotics. On that point, however, we've noticed very much within the current pandemic that a lot of companies are starting to invest in robotics and automation because it sort of future-proofs them against a future pandemic, because it's a lot easier if you've to keep your production going if you've invested an awful lot in robotics and automation. So we are actually seeing a significant upturn in companies contacting us about robotics and automation during the pandemic.
Thank you. Pirita, do you have a question?
Yes. I'm really happy for your presentation, and there's a lot of things what I'm interesting about. But my mind is that your mention about that local ecosystem virtual manufacturing testbed, and is it mean that can we use it that can our company like Pori companies or in Satakunta area can also test it? Do you also welcome for other countries' company, or is it only local way, or how do you manage that?
No, well, these are to be developed yet, I should say,
yes.
Rita. So, but when they're developed, I would like to see a collaboration, an international collaboration where, for example, we might give your companies access to the test beds, and in return, in your country, you might give us support in other ways. So, I mean, I see that the only way we're really going to do this is on a more international information sharing and collaborative basis. So, no, the last thing we want to be is parochial, because I think being parochial is a recipe for disaster, and we're doomed to fail if we do that. So I'm genuine in my interest in collaborating. We've been in European projects, for example, lots of EU framework and Horizon 20 and all that projects for a long time now. And I'm firmly wedded to the idea of international collaboration. So certainly that would be great. Yeah.
Nice to hear that, because you have a lot of that kind of value that we also offer for Robocoast, because we also have test bed and a lot of area. Maybe they can have like collaboration, and maybe you can collaborate with our university, because we have 15 different kind of university or University of Appliance Science to our consortium.
Yes, I'd welcome that very much.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow, sounds great. Yeah. Thank you, Martin. Maybe we go to the last speaker and then we can have a conclusive discussion. Thank you very much, Martin.
Yes. And thank you I want to welcome to Huhtaware Limited, a tracking solution for business and our key player now in our Robocoast 5G test place, Pori Harbour area. And I invited Jori Huhtaniemi to talk about 5G test area and the future in Pori Harbour. You are welcome, Jori. Thank you,
Pirita. Okay.
Yes.
Good afternoon, everybody. So my name is Jori Huhtaniemi and from company Huhtaware. I try to show my slide. So
Ylhäältä oikealta.
Ylhäältä oikealta, juu. Pyörii vaan.
Okay. Connection.
Yeah.
But if you have any questions, then you can also send it for Jori, that he can write it down for your answer if you have any questions.
There was some kind of connect problem right now, but it takes a few minutes.
Okay. Do anybody have any questions about it? Earlier speakers, maybe? Still, there is a time to speak about it.
Could I ask Martin, Professor MacGinnity?
Yes.
Hi, it's a great presentation. Really looking forward to seeing CIDRA up and running. What's your projection for when you'll be operational?
So, unfortunately, City Deal is a slow process. There's 3 stages to it, and we're in the middle stage at the moment. So the City Council has signed heads of terms with government, which essentially means that we're contracted a contract has been agreed in principle, and then subject to us obviously producing the full business case. So we're working on the outline and full business case at the moment. I would expect it's probably going to be another year, maybe approximately, before we have final approval to kickstart the project. At which stage we'll be in industry 5, 6 or 7 maybe.
Okay.
But yes, but in the meantime, of course, we do have our Media Research Centre here on the university campus, which is very, very active, as I mentioned, in terms of robotics and automation. So, the way we're looking at this is that the research centre is complemented by the CIDRA project. So one is more fundamental research and the other is more applied and supportive of industry. Yeah, effectively one's more the R part and the other's the D part.
Well, I put in the chat there a project that we're leading in ERNACT called Digital Regions, and everything you mentioned there about the low awareness of SMEs, their challenges in understanding what's going on and so on, that we did a survey all across Europe, even in countries that were quite, let's say, innovative like Switzerland and Germany, Bavaria. Every region was facing the same challenges. And again, what you were saying about SME engagement, it's the backbone of Europe in terms of production and jobs, and they all face even greater challenges to innovate compared to the larger companies. So that was very interesting to see, to hear from you as well, from your own experience.
Thank you. I mean, be interested to actually see that report if it was publicly available.
Sure,
or
sure.
A synopsis of it.
I will email you, and I put the website link in into the chat, but the report I will send to you.
That would be great, Margaret. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yes, we have a little bit technical problem. Let's see if Jori can get, because there's a video and it's
fine. We live on technical problems.
Yeah, really. Yes, exactly. Right way to say it. Yes, Jori, now we will see our face. Jori.
Thank you.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I talk a little bit. Huhtaware, we design the ports of the future. Little bit background information. When I did my thesis in 2016 on the topic of the use of telematics in the port of Enmiron and adjusting the current machine capacity to the volume, Finland was experiencing a decrease in the value of explosives by 4% at the same time. Port's automated cargo handling solution began to attract even more interesting. There were people in the inner circle who were also enthusiastic about the issue and saw the new cost-effective and green solutions as an interesting challenge. We ended up working together to create and envision a completely new operation model for the port. In company, we have 8 shareholders, and we have 25 years of information system and development experience, 35 years of experience in management, financials, and management and sales, and 40 years of experience in port of working. Future needs. By 2030, the volume of sea cargo will increase by 100%. Ship sites are growing and logistics must be engaged in port-related operations. Necessary information must be available in real time. In order to improve port cooperation globally, integrated systems will become part of cargo traffic monitoring. Solutions. Utilizing IoT solutions, we can gather information about any functions that are concerned usually in terms of logistics, change management, and quality assurance. In changes operations to optimize port space, utilizations, and free up extra space for new cargo or other business use. With the help of automations and robotics, higher quality services will produce it cost-effective in the future, creating the necessary integrations between the systems. Our mission, carbon neutrality, efficiency, and courage since 2016. We want to build an operating model and the tools for the port of the future. The port must provide a framework for safe, economic, ecological, and efficient logistics operations, both socially and individually. Our services, we create mechanical and software solutions. We regard for port automations. In addition to these, our services catalog includes various consulting works. Currently, our products include equipment management software, automatic gripper for saw timber, lighting, remote control solutions, and logistic solutions designs. Digitalizations, 5G enables new solutions for locations, remote control, and data collections. Combining these creates these basics for new types of management models. The automations of port operation is strongly linked to the introduction of new types of technologies and integrations between them. Monitoring the use of equipment and optimizes their utilizations together reduces operation cost. our 1-year plan with 5G and the IoT plus automation. We are privileged to start test with wood package scrapping device, which is designed by Huhtaware, and what will we use IoT sensors through 5G networks. Sensors include proximity sensors and scanning technology. With the data provided from sensors, allow crane operator to handle material loading with more automations and presence. And now I show you showing a short video.
Ports of the future will be automated. The efficiency of labor power will be tripled, and the speed of the flow of goods will be doubled. Laser scanning technology automatically reads the size and position of the cargo and sends this data to the cloud. The specifically designed pneumatics and forks with spools won't harm the packaging. And the handling of the cargo is automatic, removing the need for human labor. Machine vision reads and precisely scans the available space in the hull, removing the need for manual fitting. This is just one example of our IoT solutions with real-time remote systems and digital goods flow forecasts. Truck license plates are scanned directly at the gates, and the cargo and shipper information are read. Directions are then presented digitally to the driver, directing them to the correct platform. There is no need for the driver to register themselves. Everything is taken care of automatically. Because the height and width of the cargo is of standard measurements, unloading from the truck can also be done automatically with automated packing solutions. The vehicles send real-time data about their current load and operational info, such as battery charge and service needs. Your harbor becomes efficient with the help of these telemetrics and AGV vans. The AGV knows the exact location for cargo, placing it in the right order according to direct data from the ships. A heavy lift AGV can carry a heavier load and carry the cargo directly to the loading area at once, and automatic tracking of real-time service data, such as mileage, helps to remove any interruptions in the process. Thanks to the gathered data, the vehicles are aware of how many rounds there are left before the ship's hold is full and when they should start delivering cargo to the deck. This real-time data helps to ease the problematic tracking of space on the ship, tremendously shortening costly wait times. Unloading times will be accessible real-time, and the cargo is scanned before it is shipped, making placement and warehousing fully automatic with the help of GPS tracking. With all this data, it will be much easier to schedule your harbor's availability for maximum efficiency, saving costs and increasing profit. The high-speed 5G network will help speed up bulk unloading and warehousing. An automatic cleaner vehicle operates without latency over the 5G network, releasing manual resources for more productive tasks. Our IoT solutions keep constant track of all the bulk being unloaded, sending constant real-time data of weight and speed to the cloud. The 5G network allows us to analyze the data in real time and react immediately to any problems in the chain. Our IoT solutions enhance each moving vehicle as if they are talking with each other. We are able to automatically sense the height and mass of the bulk piles in the warehouse, helping to keep up with the exact amounts without the need to visit the site. The wheel loader's arm is connected to the cloud in real time, informing the loader and the train at what speed to move to avoid any waste spillage. The loader is able to weigh the bulk exactly and moves automatically onto the next car when the max tonnage is reached, avoiding any dangerous overload that could break the train. Our machine vision recognizes the train car number and informs the amount in real time. And to avoid any hardening of the bulk, the loader even crushes the bulk before it is loaded onto the train. Huhtaware, the future of harbor is here, creating smarter, greener harbor logistics.
Okay, Thank you. I hope if anybody have any questions, please send me an email.
Thank you very much about Jori, and or you can send it email for Jori. And this is what we are proud of now, because we have this kind of Robocoast 5G testing place, which is the city of Pori and Robocoast Consortium together, which is a new living lab area. And we are really proud of that we have this kind of area. And it's the real 5G area, because we usually have in Finland also 4.90 a test area, but this is a real one, and we are really proud of that. Now it's working, and you are all welcome to testing the 5G platform, and that's what we offer for you. And you can take contact with Jori, or you can take contact with me, and I can share it the information right people. But now, Margaret, you can start to maybe. Now it's time to discussion. If we have some kind of questions, or anybody who is in here, speakers, if somebody want to speak about it.
Can I have a question from Jori on the 5G Living Lab? Is it offered on a public 5G network, provided by operators like Elisa, or I don't know, or is it private 5G network?
It's a private 5G network.
Wow, thank you. And the network provider is Elisa or another? Yeah.
Elisa.
Okay.
No, it's Elisa.
Thank you.
Could I ask Jori as well about this harbour of the future? It looks incredible. You know, the whole set of technologies orchestrated together. How far in the future do you think?
I think not so far.
Not so far. Okay.
Not so far. It takes actually we taste the testing right now, and that wood scrapper what we built it's our. Yeah, it's a patented and what? Ask me again.
I want to ask Jori. So the video is mainly about automation. Are you also contemplating using the 5G private network deployment to develop more human interface solution, like using AR, VR over the 5G network?
Could you say that again?
Yeah. So the video you showed, it's a lot about the automation of the post.
Yes.
Yeah. I was wondering if you are planning to develop human interface solutions on the 5G network based on VR, virtual reality, or augmented reality that the workers in the port can use. Is also that in your plan?
I can say about Finnish. Joo.
Sorry, yeah, please.
Joo. Eli onko niinku tulossa tämmöistä AR, eli näitä lisätyötodellisuutta ja virtuaalitodellisuutta, että aletaanko niitä niinku kehittämään jatkossa myöskin tähän päälle, että sitähän kyseli ja näin varmaan tullaan tekemään. Että,
kyllä.
Joo. I can say about Saverio that yes, the aim is that plan that we are using VR and AR systems later on, and we are even having a project plan. We're waiting for 1 week later if we get financial support. Then we started to also building that kind of things, AR, VR systems.
Thank you. Very nice. Congratulations.
Joo, ja jos Pirita tuohon ensimmäiseen kysymykseen, niin kun se kysymys oli, että kuinka nopeasti toi on mahdollista, niin meillähän on toi yhteistyö Tampereen yliopiston kanssa tuosta just ja se tuosta tarttujasta, niin sehän on vielä tänä vuonna nosturin nokassa, että ensimmäiset automaattiset tartunnat tehdään jo tänä vuonna.
No. Yes, I can say about Saverio and earlier that the questions was that when is this ready? That they have a project going on Tampere University, and they are already testing, and they said about it that in this year time is already you can do it, and the testing is started already this year, and maybe even if the tests go well, then production can start it, and you can even test it in real time systems and those kind of things. Yeah. That is the aim.
Great, fantastic, really nice.
Yes.
Well, are there any questions from anybody? We have a little bit left.
Yes.
So speak up now, or I will close the session. Okay. Well,
can I just say thank you to the mayor of Pori, thank you to Pirita, thank you to all the speakers and everyone. Yeah, just that.
Yeah, well, we had a great session, an inspiring talk by the mayor of Pori, Aino-Maija Luukkonen, and it was great to hear about everything happening in Pori and its wonderful collaboration between the two cities. So we will be having a sequence of workshops, and the next one will be planning for September. So we hope everybody here will be able to join us then. And yeah, as Saverio said, thank you to all of the speakers. I loved hearing about the Advanced Tech for Industry reports, which is a fantastic resource from Giorgio Micheletti, and then Timothy Janisch on the future of jobs and why reskilling and upskilling is the smart and right thing to do in Industry 4.0. And then Jori Antonen, sorry for my pronunciation, he really made it clear what's the bottom line of adopting I 4.0. It's about being more profitable, more efficient in your business, and giving your customers better services so they can be more profitable. We've got a lot to look forward to in Derry, London Derry, with the CIDRA Centre, and it was great to hear about the aims of that to improve competitiveness of the very important manufacturing centre in the city, and help companies decide what they will do with I 4.0. And then finally, we've got this inspiration of the port of the future, which is not so far in the future, from Jori Huhtaniemi of the port of Pori and Huhtaware. So I think everybody will agree with me that it was a really excellent workshop event. And yeah, thank you to all the speakers and to all the attendees. And I look forward to the next one and to ongoing collaboration.
Thank you. And
thank you all for this. This is going so well, and it was so pleasure to you all have here and hear inspiring speaking about different, also Derry side and the Pori side, and we have a lot of opportunity to also build up together. And next, as Margaret mentioned about, maybe we also build about workshops that we also can collaborate more together and that kind of things.
Thank you so much. Have a nice weekend.
Yes, have a nice weekend for
Thank
everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.